Howdy, it's Kurt Money here, alongside my co-host, Mrs. Columbo. We are here to celebrate the Season 2 premiere of Poker Face, one of my favorite shows, but I'm also here to scold the return of tech I'm sick of seeing. This is Gateways. Rian Johnson and Natasha Lyonne's Poker Face is back, and even though it's been over friggin' 2.5 years since it was last on, it's still just as good. Boy, it's like this and Severance. They were gone forever, and then they came back just as strong. I mean, that's a pretty impressive feat. Just ask Yellow Jackets, which fell off a cliff. I couldn't even get through the first episode of Season 3. It's just too much Lord of the Flies stuff. But anyway, Poker Face. Oh, God, I love every time the credits come up, because they're doing that Columbo font, right? Like, that yellow font is so dope. And then we see the name of the episode, The Game's Afoot, a title that will make a lot more sense later on. We open up on Cynthia Erivo of Wicked fame, playing a caring daughter of an alien old woman, her mother, who is a complete monster. Very not nice.
It's tepid.
She's watching a fake show called Kid Cop Nights, which I love a good fake show. And you know, because you can tell they shot it for this episode.
No fair. It's way past your bedtime.
That is all going to come into play throughout this baby. Also, what tells you that is that the stick woman in bed, the mean mom, is wearing a shirt that has the logo for that show on it. Kid Night Cops. Kid Cop Nights. So kind of put it together that show probably paid for this house that they're in, and also that fake show is going to pay off for us, the audience, throughout the app.
4 daughters, and the one I kept closest is my biggest disappointment.
Yes, well, my other sisters are not here.
Sadly, this lovely mom and daughter interplay is interrupted by a doorbell, and it is their family lawyer. He's there to reverse the will, or redo it, before Meanie here croaks. And that is bummer news to Amber, because it is made all but clear to her that she ain't getting none of that dough, which is a big problem. And she wants to know who this money is now going to. You know, she's got other sisters that we're going to meet. They all look exactly the same. But there's a mystery person that all this is going to. So I love that she asked the lawyer, and his character game through this whole thing is that, like, if you make him uncomfortable and keep drilling him, he just spills the truth.
Amber, no, I can't tell you. Legally, morally, the trust that is a bedrock of my profession forbids me.
Please.
A woman named Felicity Price.
Who the f*** is Felicity Price?
Amber finds out that she is a mixed media artist and also looks exactly like her. So we already know that Cynthia is part of a quintuplet, but now there's a 5th one, which we find out later is a sextuplet, or a septuplet. Anyway, there's a fun wordplay there.
It's not a quintuplet, it's a, what do you call that?
Sextuplets?
Sextuplets.
Sextuplets.
Yeah, that's what I said.
No, sextuplets.
Yes, six.
Sex.
Wordplay that reminds me of, it's kind of a Seinfeld wordplay. Six is good, sex is good.
How about sex? Sex is good. You got a problem with sex?
Anyway, okay, so Amber finds out she lives in the woods off the grid in a camper. Kind of like the Kurt camper. But she goes there to basically get the scoop because as soon as her mom croaks, this Felicity lady is going to be rich. Well, Amber is just not going to stand for that. Like, she spent years and years dealing with her terrible mom. She's not just going to give it up to this mystery sister, okay? And hence our motive for the murder that we're seeing unfold. And then she's like, oh, let me take some photos for your website. Click, click, click. I'm taking close-ups of you, actually. Click, click, click. Because she's now going to dress like her. Say, look, I have a makeover to the sisters. Oh, and of course, Amber goes to say goodbye to mom. And by saying goodbye, I mean killing her.
It's okay. You can go now.
And then she's going to friggin' kill the real Felicity Price, take her identity, so that she can now get that inheritance. And you know what? It all goes pretty according to plan. It is a pretty smooth idea.
What in the living
We're seeing it every step of the way. She tackles her, they're wrestling, and then she friggin' tosses her off the cliff. So it looks like job's done. Murder is done. But uh-oh, what's that dangling off the edge there? But somebody's artificial leg and foot. She looks down. Friggin' Felicity Price was missing a foot. So this is a big hiccup in her plan. And she had just sent a video saying that she was going to jump and stuff. Luckily, the Wi-Fi was no good at the moment. But, oh, and also, hey, that title's starting to pay off. The Game's Afoot. True, true, true.
Holy butt munch.
Holy butt munch indeed. How is anybody going to think that dead body is Amber if it's missing a foot? And she clearly has both hers. She thinks quick, throws her body up there in the train tracks, also helpfully nearby, and watches as the train cuts what's already a stub there and makes it all bloody and stuff, so it looks like, uh-oh, where'd her leg go? This, of course, works gangbusters, but I always wonder, in moments like this, there's like a conductor up there going, no, 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 no. So that eventually gets back to who needs to know, right? Or do you think it happens all the time and the conductor's like, whatever, it's probably a prank? I bet conductors got to do a lot of bull of people trying to make like viral vids on train tracks. Maybe that's what it is. Anyway, doesn't matter. Then she gets back in her car, is now officially Felicity Price, and drives off as we see a very familiar car driving to the cliff in the distance. And out get 3 more Cynthia Ervos. No Charlie yet, though, but we do know that car, don't we? Is friggin' Charlie's.
Good, honey.
And boom, we're set up for the murder mystery that Charlie Cale, our hero, is no doubt going to solve. And I love this setup to the episodes. Like, one, it follows the Columbo. I mean, there's a lot to love about the show that comes directly from Columbo. Like, for instance, seeing the murder play out first. And then the fun is to watch our hero, Columbo, or Charlie Cale, in this case, figure out why the murder happened, okay? Like, we already know who done it, but it's watching this person figure it out that makes it fun. But they add some of their own little flares in there. Like, what Poker Face does is we never see Charlie Cale in the first chunk, like the first 15 minutes, but we get a sense of her, or we might see, like, the back of her head, like that one about that ribs joint. We kind of see her. We know it's her.
George.
I'm a murderer.
And in this one, when we see her car pulling up, we're like, uh-oh. We know that Charlie's about to be involved in this bad boy. Columbo never did any seed plants like that, so I love that this was like them taking that story device to the next level. And I just think it's a ton of fun. And I love that she definitely has a car that's super recognizable by now. I mean, it's no French Pinot. I forget what Columbo's car is called. A Pinot, a Pinot. It's French. I know that. So now we go back in time a little to see what Charlie's been up to since the events of the end of season 1.
Well, B, let's all of us find out together. Huh?
R.I.P. friggin' Ron Perlman. I was super bummed when that happened, okay? I loved their little relationship, and the fact that he was going to give her a name tag in this little box. Like, I wanted them to be buds. And I loved him calling her kid stuff.
Hey, kid.
I don't know. I loved that. Benjamin Bratt had to get in there. And now, this season's big bad is a Beatrice Wasp or something. I think voiced by Rhea Perlman. But anyway, Charlie is on the run from them, and they're like, you think it was scary running from Ron Perlman? He used tape recorders, dude. We're gonna catch you so easy.
There is no corner of the country deep enough to hide from us. We're gonna find you.
The first place they catch her we see is she's a parking attendant trying to make convo with this dude about the books they're reading. That doesn't work. She's out of there. And then we see her at like a haunted hayride where she's in mummy gear wrapped up talking to a dude who I think is supposed to be a zombie or something. And then a hayride comes up and they have to go up there and pretend like, I'm a mummy, not a zombie, blah. And then, of course, riding the hayride are these mobsters. And they're there to shoot wildly at Charlie again as they run off. And, okay, first time this segment's going to happen today. Explain the joke, please. When they're running away from the gunfire, the crowd is chanting Jason versus zombie. Jason versus zombie.
Jason versus zombie! Jason versus zombie! Jason versus zombie!
What's the joke there? Okay, I'm a big Jason fan. He's my favorite of the heavy hitters, so I'm very familiar with his oeuvre. I'm very familiar with his oeuvre. I'm very familiar with his oeuvre. So, like, are they referencing Freddy vs. Jason where they first meet and fight in a cornfield at, like, a party? What's the joke here? That they think that that dude is Jason and that Charlie is supposed to be a zombie, and the joke is nobody knows what's supposed to be? I don't know. If anybody knows, please let me know. This is not a burn on the show. I genuinely just want to know what the reference is, because again, I love me some Jason. I don't know. I want to laugh at this joke, but much like the bullets whizzing by Charlie, this one just went straight over my head. Boom.
Wordplay.
This is a public service announcement by Kurt Money and Mrs. Columbo.
Hollywood bigwigs, please take note. There's no need to do a reboot of Columbo or a remake or reimagining or blah, 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 blah. Okay, don't do it. I'm worried that because Poker Face is a hit, they're going to be like, people love Columbo, we got to bring it back. Because NBC, of course, Universal owns Columbo too. But there's no need because Poker Face is the perfect modern day Columbo. Plus, it's its own thing. Like, there's no need to try and get, like, another classic IP going, okay? So, like, I'm not saying I read this anywhere. I just feel like it's coming. Like, Columbo has a very active YouTube channel. Like, an official Columbo YouTube channel. So, like, somebody's paying attention over there at Universal, and I just don't want to get any wise ideas. Because this is all we need. Poker Face is the new Columbo, plus its own thing, and I love it. Back to Poker Face, and back to Charlie's plight. Charlie's next move is to be a hideout as an apple picker. And much like every job she ever has, to go under hiding and, like, get paid under the table stuff, she's terrible at it. All she does is like talk and stuff, and she's always the worst, and we love it.
Pick up the picking pace, please.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry, yeah.
And she is talking to another Cynthia Erivo. This is now one of the other quintuplets out there. This one is named Delia, or Dee Dee. And she is an apple picker, and of course, her and Charlie hit it off, and they have a real bonding session when the mobsters show up, and Delia lies on behalf of Charlie, who's hiding behind a tree, like without even talking to her about it. So, of course, that draws them two together, and that's when Delia lets it slip that, like, hey, you recognize my face because I, like, used to be the star of a TV show that was on forever, okay? It was called Kid Cop Nights. I love all the fun we have here with this old show. One, the inside baseball joke, how hard it was to shoot a show starring a child that shoots at night. It's like, well, you need quintuplets. You need 4 of the same person to be able to work around like the hours. Very funny.
We all played Kid Cop. It's the only way you can make 23 episodes a year when you decide to set a kid show shot entirely at night.
Plus, we get a straight up like title sequence of Kid Cop Nights. Love the way the title sequence works, and I love the little clip that they give us of the show. Like they're watching it on iPad, like after they're done apple picking. And I just love that, like we get a little taste, and like, of course, she's in too deep. Even though she's like 12 or 14 or whatever, she's like, I don't know where I begin, and this drug mule begins.
I don't know where I start, and Crystal the drug mule ends.
That is awesome, and another hilarious jab just at like television and movies about detectives in general. The person who goes undercover getting too close. They're in over their head. They don't know where they begin and end and where the bad guy is and blah, blah, blah. I mean, look, it happens to the best of them. Just ask Jack Bauer. Poor guy was addicted to heroin in season 3 of 24.
Not right now, sweetheart. I'm in the middle of something.
All right, so it's after this bonding between Charlie and Delia that Delia gets a text, and she's in a group text with the other twins, or quintuplets or whatever, with the other Cynthias, okay? The sisters, as I'll refer to from now on. In a group chat, bummer news, mom died. Now we see it, and one person says this, and we know why that is, because the mom sucked. She was super mean. And she's now got to find a way to get back home to see if she's going to get any of the estate. Like, she wants to know if there's going to be an inheritance. She needs to be there, so hopefully it'll get split between all the sisters. But anyway, of course, she's got no way to get there, and Charlie says, hey, I've got a car. I'll give you a ride. So boom, they take off.
Maybe I can talk her into sharing it with us.
No, hey, it's okay. I'll drive.
And now is when we catch up to current day in the episode. It's about halfway through the ep already, and we are now at the point where the body's off the cliff. The sisters show up after getting the suicidal video that says, you know, I'm out of here, peace. And then we see those 3 Cynthia Ervos come up to the edge, and then we wait a beat longer than we did 15 minutes ago. And there's Charlie, also looking down. Here we go. Now we're off. Now we're friggin' off. We know what murder's gonna be solved. We know who did it. And now it's time to just watch Charlie do her magic as the episode unfolds. So the 3 sisters and Charlie go back to the mansion. They're talking to the lawyer guy again, who has some funny bits. And before Felicity arrives, this is another moment for Explain the Joke, please. This is number 2 of 2 in this episode. She pulls like a trophy. She pulls an award off the shelf and is like, what's this for? And it's Best Intergenerational Kiss. And they have won it 5 years in a row. Now this is the Explain the Joke part.
That's the Latvian Critic Award for Best Intergenerational Kiss. We won it 5 times in a row.
I'm sorry.
At first I thought they were implying that they had to kiss each other, and that's why it was a bummer and 5 years in a row, you know, and like, haha, that's the joke. But then intergenerational, I googled it. It means like many generations and stuff. So what's the joke? That they had to kiss an old guy that was their grandpa? I don't know. Again, I'm not hating on the show here. I genuinely just want to know what the joke is. But I know why the joke is there, though. And you can get a sense by looking at this trophy and how friggin' sharp it is. Okay? You know that's Chekhov's pointy award. We're going to be seeing that bad boy again. But I do not get the joke that introduced it. Anyway, the doorbell just rang. It's friggin' Felicity Price. And she's there to collect that inheritance.
I'm sorry, that's probably her now.
And wouldn't you know, she wants every dime, doesn't want to give any to the sisters, but offers to say, hey, you know what? If you don't sue me, I'll give you $150K right now. We'll call it a day. Most of the sisters are with it. There's a DJ one, there's a stuffy one that's French for some reason, that's a teacher, and I bet she would know what Columbo's car is. A Pinot. Pinot. It's something, it's got a P, an N, and a T, and an I, and an O, and a U in it, I think. I just don't know how to say it. Anyway, they're French. The DJ's like, haha, like I look at my phone all the time and I don't care about anything. Anyway, they're in for it. They say they take the money and run, but then Dee Dee's like, no, I'm not signing that. Like, that's our money. We deserve it. And she storms off. And Felicity goes running after her.
Tell my friend that I will be back with her car soon. I
have to clear my head.
She goes off. Felicity comes back inside, puts on Dee Dee's clothes to pretend to be Dee Dee, storms in there, and signs the will and agrees to the $150K payout.
F***ing fine then. Give me the f***ing forms, I'll f***ing sign.
Which I think is, again, smooth thinking on her part. She's thinking on her feet. Or foot. No. Too easy, Kurt. Too easy. Finally, we get to see Charlie's superpower in action, which of course she can read a lie. We don't know how or why. She doesn't either, but we just know it's a fact.
I got this thing. I can just tell when someone's lying. It's kind of a thing I do.
I love this conceit for a TV show and the idea to wrap a TV show around it. That's pretty freaking cool. Actually, it makes me think of Knives Out, Rian Johnson's other masterpiece, how Ana de Armas pukes every time she lies.
You have a regurgitative reaction to mistruthing.
But that's totally... I wonder if that's what inspired Poker Face. It's kind of like the same thing. I mean, not enough that it's a ripoff. Anyway, I say boom. It worked in both. Movie, TV show. Love it.
Oh, dear girl, I'm sorry.
It's never worn out its welcome. I love it. And the way that they incorporate it into this episode is so good. Because she walks in on Felicity giving her speech to the sisters, and she's just like calling bull on all of it. She's like, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. And so later she finds Dee Dee and pulls her into a room and is like, yo, what's up with that sister out there? She's lying.
Look, it's no big deal, but at least like 60% of what your secret sister out there is saying is like total bullshit.
This is another great twist of the app, is that is not Dee Dee. We know that that's Felicity, who is really Amber, pretending to be Dee Dee to sign the contract to get the money, but now she's stuck talking to someone who knows lies. And so now we see Charlie going, hey, I know because I can tell people are lying. That lady was lying. What the hell's going on? We got to catch her out. But little does Charlie know she's actually talking to the person doing all the lying.
Hey, dummy. Bullshit detector, remember?
Right. You have to do it.
Yeah.
This was good stuff. This was good stuff, and there's more to come. The real Dee Dee comes back from the drive, right?
I left your keys in the car.
Yeah, I remember. Appreciate it, though. Oh, yeah, I did prefer the other beanie.
So Charlie goes and grabs Felicity and brings her in the other room and confronts her.
Why are you lying about who you are?
Little does she know she's talking to the person that she concocted this plan with, right? She doesn't know that. But she, gets in Felicity's face, is like, what's up? Why are you lying? And this is where the show gets some crazy creativity points, and I gotta give them a slow clap, writing-wise, where Charlie's like, almost everything you say is a lie. And it's like, how is she gonna get out of this? And Felicity spins it and goes, yeah, those were lies, because I didn't like who I was, and I became who I am. Who are you to tell me who my true self is?
I am Felicity Price. She is me. You call it a lie. I call it my truth.
And Charlie can't deny that. I mean, that's a good point.
That's true. Excruciatingly pretentious, but, true.
We've never seen this angle yet in Poker Face, and I love it. Just the idea of thinking, yes, she is lying, but she's just being the person she wants to be. Now, we also know she's doing it because she's a murderer and a liar. But in this moment, I love that Charlie's like, I guess you got a point there. I thought that was so cool. So then Charlie walks out, finds the real Dee Dee, and no more confusion time. She says, Charlie's been talking to this other Dee Dee the whole time.
I don't think she's an imposter.
What the f*** are you talking about?
This is where the French farce, different doors thing happens just enough. Too much of this in anything, a movie or TV show, and I hate it. The misunderstanding that everybody rolls with because nobody says what they're talking about. I hate that trope. But anyway, this episode did it just enough to keep the story going, but then ultimately ended how I want them all to end, is she's like, what the f*** are you talking about? I love it. All right, so now Charlie and Dee Dee are sitting outside and they're trying to figure out...
I don't understand why any of my sisters would pretend to be me.
And then, of course, it dawns on them when that lawyer delivers a check for $150,000 and he's like, thanks for signing, by the way. You saved us a headache. Now they realize that someone pretended to be Dee Dee so that she could storm in there and sign the check and get out of there.
That's a lot of f***s, Dee Dee.
But now they gotta figure out why the hell would someone do that. And it's then when the cadaver dog shows up with the two cops. They've been over there off the cliff by the train tracks looking for the loose leg somewhere, or foot. And I say foot because, again, title correlations popping off right now. But also the cop was like, yeah, we've been searching all day. We haven't been able to find a leg. But you know what? Worse than that, I've been singing that Footloose song all day. You know. And they start singing it.
Everybody cut loose, foot loose, kick off your Sunday shoes.
All day.
This sounds like just a funny joke or a pun of like, hey, the title, right? But it ends up being the kickoff for the climax of the film. Like, this brings it all together for Charlie. So they're sitting there after the cops, they go to the cadaver dogs, calling it a day. And Dee Dee's sitting there, and she starts singing to herself the Footloose song. And we get a little taste of Cynthia Erivo singing, right? This is the only time it happens, but she does a little.
God damn it. It's like the smallpox of movie plot songs. I blame Bacon.
And I'm thinking, oh, haha, yeah, this funny reference to a pop culture thing again. But then Charlie goes, Bacon, that's it. She remembers Felicity Price. She had like a pamphlet of all of her artwork and stuff. And it was like a picture of Kevin Bacon from the movie Footloose, where he's going like that. There's a bust of Daniel Day-Lewis from the movie My Left Foot. There's a $5 footlong. And then there's a ruler, 12 inches equals a foot. Boom. So what is it about Felicity Price that she's obsessed with this foot? And then she turns the pamphlet over and sees a full body pic. And wouldn't you know it? Boom! Prosthetic leg on the left side. That foot's a fake, y'all. Now, Charlie's got it. So now we get like a classic parlor scene at the end of like a murder mystery where Charlie gets to go in there and like accuse her and have all this proof. And she even does like a one more thing kind of thing, but not like an official. She doesn't say, one more thing. That's my Columbo. It's terrible. We're here to talk about Poker Face Kurt. And she confronts Felicity. Felicity and the lawyer are like, how dare you speak ill of the dead? How dare you do that? And she's like, oh yeah? Well, if you're Felicity then, she's like, let's see that fake leg then. And Felicity agrees to it. And, the audience is going, well, what's she up to here? She pulls up her pant leg and taps. At the very least, she's wearing the top part of the prosthetic leg over her real leg, we know. But, she's proving to everybody that she's got a fake leg, knock, knock. But Charlie's not buying it. She goes and gets that pointy-ass award, Chekhov's pointy-ass award, over there on the shelf. We got to see it used as a weapon, and here it comes. She brings over the award, turns it over, drop, boom, spike, proving her foot is not loose. It is, in fact, intact and spurting blood. I love this. And I love that Felicity held out for a minute. Like, it's like, wait, she's not going to crack? She's not going to crack? And then the blood just starts going...
Holy butt munching
This was great. She's down on the floor in pain. Cops come in. They're like, oh, yeah, the fingerprints didn't match. Boom. We're done. End to end. Everything wraps up nice and tidy. So now Dee Dee has the money to buy the apple farm, and she's like, hey, Charlie, you need to figure yourself out. Why don't you join me? And, of course, Charlie's thinking about it long enough, and you know what? She will join her at that apple orchard until stray bullet goes right through her cup.
What am I even running from, right?
These friggin' mafia dudes are after her again. She's got to go back on the run.
Oh, right.
So the ending's great, and we've got her set up for season 2. She's still on the run from an evil mobster. But this, I gotta say, old heads, this is my only... It's not a gripe, okay? This show is still amazing, like I said. There's a potential future misstep here in that I don't want to have to do the we're on the run from the mafia thing again all season. Because these mafia dudes, they're just a little too goofy for my liking. Like, if I could reference the We Hate Movies podcast, these are Mickey Mouse mafia. Whereas it's like cartoon mafia you see in movies where they're just there for a story device. But, like, it's just bumbling idiots with guns that never hit anybody. And we get that with here because, like, it's weird. Early on when we hear Beatrice, like, threatening Charlie, she's like, you thought it was hard running from Ron Perlman? That dude still recorded on audio cassette, okay? I'm way meaner. But her goons are taking shots from like a football field away and yelling her name and stuff.
Charlie Cale! Beatrix Haas says hello!
Like, it's just too for a show that doesn't lean that far into the cutesy. You know what I mean? Like last season, Ben Bratt was scary as hell, okay?
Just tell me how deep to dig the hole.
And anytime Charlie had a ticking clock, like the ATM episode, I'm going, you gotta get out of there. But clearly, these doofs are never gonna catch her or hit her, okay? So I just hope, I don't know, I don't even know what kind of motivation I need for her to always be on the run. I mean, when she talked with her sister last year, played by Clea Duvall, like, it's clear that that's her issue, is she's always on the run, never gets attached to anything.
This is not just a series of situations you keep getting reeled into. You choose to be out there.
So does she need something like the mafia chasing after her for her to continue this path? I don't think so. So I don't know, maybe they bail on it soon. I hope it's not all season they do that. I mean, honestly, I'm not even, if it is, whatever. I'm not here for like the arc through the season. I'm here for these one and done episodes where it's a murder mystery and then we get it wrapped up by the end. I mean, that's what the gold is in this show. So ultimately, it doesn't matter what they do with these mafia guys. It's just a little cheesy right now. Other than that, slight question mark. I freaking love this ep and it was a home run. I give it 9 out of 10 stars. Why only 9, you say, if you loved it so much? What's up with that missing star? Well, I'll tell you. I've got kind of a thorn in my side right now in 2025 about how many things have done the clones or twins thing. Like, it's weird. Think about it. You've got this, Sinners.
Nah, we cousins.
Which was dope and rolled, and I loved it. The Monkey did it, which was awful, and I'd love to do a whole video about why that movie sucks so hard.
Now, this is the part where I suggest that we arm wrestle.
And then Mickey 17 did it. So, like, right there, boom, there's 4 things this year that are all doing something with this one actor plays other characters against themselves thing. Now, look, I loved most of those examples, except for the Monkey, of course. So it's like, I'm not mad at the output, but here's the deal. There is clearly something that has happened in tech that makes it a hell of a lot easier to do stuff like this. And I think it's what Mickey 17 did. I rented it on Amazon. You know how they have that X-ray thing? Most of their things that were trivia were not trivia at all. They were awful. But anyway, I did learn one thing, is that they used face-swapping AI technology to assist when hard shots where two Mickeys had to be together. That's clearly what they're doing in all the stuff now. So it's not impressive. And, like, what I loved when actors had to play against each other was the fact that, like, one, it was, like, the most tech it used was split screen, where they keep the camera rolling, right? And then the actor would get changed into another outfit and then act against themselves again. You know, like Phoebe and Ursula on Friends. Like, this is Lisa Kudrow acting to nobody but to Lisa Kudrow and back again. And then there are other in-camera tricks where it's like, you know, you use a body double for shots from behind and stuff. I loved when people did that. That to me was its own, like, trick, like the Oner thing that we saw on Studio this year, where it felt like a feat. Something now, though, with this AI face-swapping stuff, there's something about it that now it's not as impressive. It's not magic anymore. It's just CGI. And, like, I don't know if that's fair. Maybe I'm just an old man ranting on a hill, but I don't know. I loved it before. And look, I know that there's been a little bit of digital stuff for any sort of twins playing against each other. Like, I'm sure they did something on The Deuce, the Franco show made by the Wire guy that I freaking love. Love The Deuce, watch The Deuce. I was so impressed with how they did that. That was 8 years ago or something. I'm sure that they used some sort of digital something or another, but it was seamless to me, and I, like, appreciate it then. But something now, I just get the sense, like, there's no ooh and ah anymore. Now, is that a bigger picture thing where AI makes nothing real? Possibly. Should it not affect this 1-star rating? Perhaps. But that's just the way I feel, okay? I love me a good actor acting against themselves. I freaking love it. Friends did it with Ross, too. When Ross talks to the guy that looks like him that's dating Rachel. That stuff is fun. That stuff is fun as hell.
Are you a friend of Rachel's? Yes, I am. Are you a friend of Rachel's?
Just something when AI comes in, it's like, now it doesn't matter. And it's funny, I was reading an article about this episode of Poker Face on Variety, and Rian Johnson is in there, and they're really going hard of, like, they wanted that vintage feel and how they really went old school and did a lot of in-camera tricks to pull this off and how he had to map it out. One Cynthia is going to be going and this and that and this. I love that stuff. But even in this article, that's a love letter to Rian Johnson and all things practical, is that little line that says, oh, but for the hard stuff, they did this other thing. That other thing is clearly AI, face-swapping technology, right? But look, if that's not fair for the 1-star being taken away, I'll take it away because I liked Cynthia in Wicked. I thought she was great. I loved her in that Bad Royale movie. Something with this, though, and hearing her talk about the roles and how she inhabited them and had these backstories, blah, blah, blah. It didn't work for me. None of these characters felt like their own thing. They all felt like impressions of tropes that she was doing. Like the over-it DJ social media on her phone all the time, or like the hoity-toity teacher. Like, these all felt like cartoon characters a little bit. And not in a good way. It just looked like, look at that actor having a friggin' blast playing all these characters. That's great and stuff, but I don't know. I don't want to dwell on the bad, though, because I do like her overall. Just didn't work for me 100% in this ep. I'm so picky when it comes... Anytime people draw attention to characters in a way that should just be left to suspension of disbelief, I get kind of knocked by it. Like that trailer that came out with The Rock recently. He's doing the right thing, okay? He's doing a Safdie movie. It's not both of them together, it's one of the Safdies, but he's doing it. That's good. Hopefully his yes men weren't anywhere near the project, and maybe it'll be a real movie. But I hate seeing all these headlines that say, The Rock is unrecognizable as this UFC guy. No, he's not. That's The Rock, dude, in a weird little wig. That's definitely The Rock. Now, I wouldn't be saying that if there weren't these headlines that say unrecognizable. I mean, that's just simply not true. So, boom to that. Boom to this episode, 9 out of 10. There was a lot of funny stuff in the up I didn't mention. Like, there's a great Gremlin shout out. Charlie walks in and sees this 5th sister, supposedly. She says, oh, we gotta stop feeding these sisters after midnight.
And they gotta stop feeding these girls after midnight.
Clearly a Gremlins ref, which we all know is by my boy, JD, Joe Dante. I love a good old reference to anything Joe Dante. And actually, of course, that makes this a great time for me to remind you, Holtheads out there, that tonight, before you go to bed, please recognize Tidbit Boat for me. Just this once. Tidbit Boat.